Hello, greetings. So this is going to be a Gorean topic. And what I want to discuss is, I have been touching on this before because I did make a video basically about how to decode BDSM for Goreans to try to basically give some advice on how to avoid some of the confusions that sometimes pop up when the two lifestyles meet. But there's one thing that are a constant problem, at least in online gore, though it do pop up other places as well, and that is the complete misunderstanding a lot of people have as to what BDSM is, what it is not, and basically what is unique about Goreanism. Because usually, excuse me, this is what happened. Excuse me. Again, cat hair. There's cat hairs everywhere. Basically, this is usually what's happened. Some girl comes into the message board, chat room, forum, whatever you have, and says, I want to be a Kajira. And then people ask, why do you want to be a Kajira? And she says, because I want to be in a total power exchange master slavery relationship, and I don't want it to be based on pain. Here's the thing. A lot of Goreans seems to have this idea that BDSM is just about pain. That the only reason people are into BDSM is because pain. Now, pain play is one of the things that people might do in BDSM. It's an umbrella term, meaning there are a lot of different practices that fits into the BDSM category. So, yes. However, what separates Goreanism from BDSM is not that there are no pain play, because there are Goreans that enjoy pain play. Before you all lose your mind, we will discuss that in a moment. So just put your rage on hold for a moment, and we will be discussing that. Now, first of all, but let's just talk about this first. I know a lot of people that are not Goreans that consider themselves to be BDSM, who are not into pain play. It's the dominance and submission that they're interested in, and they live in a total power exchange relationship where one of the party considers herself, or sometimes himself, to be the slave of the dominant party. This isn't something unique to the Gorean lifestyle, and in fact you are limiting yourself because you are cutting off a huge chunk of potential partners by saying, no, I will only have a Gorean, because Goreans are the only one that don't do pain play. Because that isn't true. Basically, there's a lot of people who are BDSMers who are not into pain play. So, yeah. And because basically, BDSM is dominance and submission, sadism and masochism. It's discipline and dominance and submission, masochism and sadism. It's discipline, and I have forgotten one. That's a bit embarrassing, but my mind isn't with me today. I got like 2 hours of sleep. But anyway, it's an umbrella term, and as you can see, the Gorean type slavery, what you are looking for, basically total power exchange with the focus or the power exchange would fit into the dominance and submission part. Master and slavery is also one of the things. There's those little letters means a lot of things. So anyway, those are, I mean, it's not something unique to Goreans. It's like coming into to a store and saying, I want to have exactly that book series because I want to read a hardbound book. And somebody tried to say, yeah, but there's lots of books that's hardbound. Well, no, it's just that series that's hardbound. Read up a little bit. Now, are there a lot of people that are into paint play? Could I say that it's probably the most, that and bondage is also part of it. That bondage and discipline. Bondage and discipline, here we go. Bondage is also part of it. But anyway, that the bondage part and the bondage part and the pain play part are probably the most popular parts of BDSM, but it's by no means the only. So yeah, if that's the only reason why you are into Goreanism, then yes, you might find a good fit with a Gorean master, but you might also find a good fit with a lot of different BDSM masters that are into these particular types of things. Now, getting to the pain play part. Some people say, oh, but it says in the Gore books that while the Gorean master is often strict, he's seldom cruel, yada yada yada. Yeah, here's the thing. We are not trying, unless you are a reconstructionalist, then by all means. But for most of us, we are not trying to copy everything in the books. Because if you do that, things go very wrong. Like a few people I know that do try to copy everything in the books, they decided to copy the branding. Yes. Unfortunately, human beings do not have the same type of skin as cows. It did not end well. Don't do that. Here's the thing. John Norman are not into pain play. He has written a book about BDSM called Imaginative Sex. It is plain and simple having fun in the bedroom with BDSM guidebook. It's a very tame one, and for the whipping scenarios, he recommends that the submissive be padded so there will be no pain. He is personally not into pain, and so of course within his books the pain play really isn't the thing. There's a little bit of it. There's one section that mentioned that sometimes owners like to order their slaves to whip them for sexual pleasure. And there are a few sections where slaves ask to be whipped just to feel that, not for the pain itself, but to feel dominated. Other than that, it's generally not about the pain play. But there's nothing wrong with being into pain play, and there are. I have been into Goreanism now for 10 years or so, and I know quite a few Goreans, and a quite big percentage of them are into pain play in some form or shape. And here's the thing, if you become the slave of a Gorean or enter into another type of total power exchange relationship, you will be expected to be obedient, meaning that if you find this Gorean master that you want to submit to, he might actually want to whip you for his pleasure, and you have no other option than to either beg release or grin and bear it. So, here's the thing. There's lots of Goreans who are into pain play. It's not a particular Gorean thing in and of itself, but then again, so making sandwiches isn't a particularly Gorean thing in and of itself. But that doesn't mean that Goreans doesn't do it. And there are BDSMers who are not into pain play. So if basically I want to be a slave but do not like pain is your only reason for being into Goreanism, then you might want to look at finding a BDSM partner that have the same interest as you, because you're more likely to find exactly what you want. Basically, here's the thing, and it annoys me. When you have so-called Gorean slaves that says, oh no, but Kajira, they are so much better than BDSMers because they're not just into it for the pain, and we're so much better. No, you're not. You're slaves just like any other one that consider themselves to be slaves. And not more or deeper submitted. It's a total power exchange relationship. And there's lots of lifestyles that have total power exchange relationships. That's not what the difference is. Now, one thing that I do, that quite a few Gorean slaves, or wannabe Gorean slaves, say they're into, that are difficult to find other places, are the idea that slavery is an institution, not just something that's between two people. Basically, within the Gorean lifestyle, a slave is a social rank, meaning that she, or sometimes he, is the slave of, well, not slave of, but is expected to behave submissively towards everyone who is free. This is also one of the things that are the most difficult for a lot of slaves to accept, because it's very fun to speak in third person, act all slavely until you have to bow and scrape to somebody you don't like. But anyway, there's the attraction. There's one of the things that when I was a slave, that attracted me about Goreanism, the idea that it was a social rank, not just something within that, basically within a relationship. So if that's what you're looking for, then Goreanism is one of the places you can find that. However, I feel that whatever or not you are free or slave, the main reason why you should seek out Goreanism is for the philosophy, because that's at the heart of it. It isn't, basically, if the only reason why you are into Goreanism is for the masters and slavery aspect, then it's BDSM. Basically, what I often ask people is, if there were no slavery in Goreanism, if the master and slavery part weren't there, would you still be interested in the lifestyle? If your reply is yes, I would still be interested in the lifestyle, the philosophy, and so on and so forth, then you are not practicing BDSM, you're practicing a lifestyle that has slavery aspects. However, if you say, yeah, then I wouldn't be interested, it's the slavery part's the main thing for me, then you are practicing gore-flavored BDSM. And there's nothing wrong with that, by all means. But then you might also find what you're looking for somewhere else. So I guess that why I'm making this video is that you should know what you're seeking in the Gorean lifestyle. You should ask yourself of some questions. Basically, why do you want to be a Gorean? This is basically both for Kajira, or potential Kajira, and for free. But we have more of this problem with slaves than with the free. Basically, why the Gorean lifestyle? If your reply is, well, I want slavery but no pain, then you can find that somewhere else. If forever it is that you are fascinated by the philosophy, then you might be right for it. Then you should ask yourself, what do I think the Gorean philosophy is? Basically, ask yourself that question, write it down, then actually read up on the philosophy and also read up on the works of Nietzsche, the various books by Ayn Rand, Greek and Roman society and philosophy, Old Norse, and the political and philosophical ideas of libertarianism, and see how they match up. Because if your idea of the philosophy is just, well, women should be submissive and men should be dominant, then you have missed the point. There's so much more to it than that. That's a little bit like somebody says, oh, you really like Norway. Why do you want to move to Norway? And somebody says, well, there's mountains and shit. Yeah, there's mountains. There's also a lot of other things. And if only thing you have after is the mountains, you can find mountains other places as well. So, yes, the third thing you should ask yourself is, are you prepared to put in the work? Because here's the thing. I have grown up with a standard Western morality. Some of that morality I have later put aside because I have gotten other ideas. But when you put aside part of the morality you've grown up with, that's hard. It doesn't fall naturally. It needs work. So you need to be willing to read the Gorean books, but not just that. The various things that inspire them, because they don't exist in a vacuum. It's not like John Norman reached far into his asshole and pulled this out. His field is philosophy. He was inspired by a lot of various schools of philosophy and put that together to form the Gore books. So basically you should read about basically the source material as well, and take time to consider it and meditate on how this will fit into your life. So are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to put in time and effort and resources in getting the materials, reading the materials, rereading the materials? Because if not, then finding a philosophy and way of life that are closer to what you have grown up with might be better for you, because if you're not willing to put in the work, it will end up half-assed. So yeah, and also before you say, well, I want to be Gorean because BDSM is such and such, do the research on what BDSM actually is. That is what I wanted to say. Have a great day, and blessed be.